Think there we are. We are finally live. We have dealt with our technical issues for the night. For once, it's not me. So Tim, you can blast me away in the comments here in a minute. I'll take a look. I'm going to try and get on the chat here as well because I'm struggling a little bit trying to do many things at once. There's the chat. Oh, mute site, so I don't have to listen to myself. That'll be good. So, hey guys, welcome to the American Hammers TV. It's Monday night. It's roundup time again for us on the transfer topic tonight. As usual, we got Justin in from Chicago, and we've got the ever-present and ever-sexy Jeremiah Carson calling in from Northern
Yeah,
Colorado,
I
filling in
appreciate that.
filling in for I think he's now officially the Illinois. What's that game? Cornhole professional Nick Stamper, who apparently is late on his flight tonight. So Nick, wherever you are, buddy, uh, hope you have a good night. And I'm just gonna put "We Are Live" in the chat. So we are up. So it's roundup time for transfers. All right, we're going to cover a couple things tonight. I gave Jeremiah a whole shed load of names of people he's never heard of before to talk about tonight. And Jeremiah spent all day not working, just doing research. Right, Jeremiah?
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly right, Scott. Yeah. Hopefully, no. Hopefully, nobody important is watching this. So yeah.
All right. And then Justin and I are just talking. We're going to cover a couple of topics today. We're going to cover two people. We're going to cover Marko Arnautovic and Justin. As I promised you earlier, I will let you walk through that on your own. We're also going to talk about Maxi Gomez and how you're feeling tonight. So, gentlemen, how you doing tonight? Jeremiah, how's the weather there?
Dude, weather's good, man. Where are you at? It
I am
looks
sitting
pretty.
outside my restaurant. We're actually shorthanded a little bit tonight. So I'm actually doing this for an hour while somebody else is handling the wine duties. So I'm happy.
Nice.
Justin, how you doing, buddy? How's Chicago treating you today?
Everything's good. Everything's just good, just recovering from the holiday weekend. You know how that goes.
Holiday weekend. Was it a day off in America?
Independence, baby.
Independence is good. Anyways, let's talk for a little bit tonight. Let's talk about transfers, guys. Marko Arnautovic is gone. Jeremiah, in all honesty, how do you feel about Marko being gone?
Dude, I'm glad he's gone. I think I've voiced it a lot of times, and I think I share a lot of opinions, and I've even wrote a couple articles about it, man. But I'm super glad that he's gone. I'm super glad that the drama behind everything is gone. I think that we just need to get somebody in there now that wants to play. Whether it's somebody we already have in Chicharito or we make jokes about Hugel, but things like that. Get somebody in that actually wants to play for the badge and wants to play. I'm just glad he's gone. Blatantly honest, I know we didn't get the money that we wanted for it, but yeah, I don't know, Justin. What do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, overall, it's a crappy situation that I wish would have worked out. I mean, I wish ideally he would have just stayed and he wouldn't have had an attitude, and his brother wouldn't have been talking to the press and putting out all these rumors. I've been pro Marko. For a while, I've tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. I said that the fans were a bit harsh on him last winter. Had a little bit of like thinking of Payet. Payet was in the back of their minds, and they were sort of having nightmares about that. But once he put in the transfer request, I think sometime last week, I was of the mindset of like, let's just sell him. I saw the bid; it was 23 or 24. I mean, wish we would have gotten more, but at the same time, once he handed in that transfer request, I was like, we just got to get rid of him. I was wrong. I stand corrected on him. I was pro Marko, but I was wrong, and I'm glad that we just got it done, and hopefully we use those funds towards Maxi.
And I'm with you on that. I mean, it looks like, and we'll get to Maxi a little bit more fully here in a minute. We're going to go hard after Maxi. I want to ask you guys this. Like, we've been through Payet a couple of years ago. We all know how we feel with that. Now we've gone through Marko. Jeremiah, pick one memory. What is one positive thing you're going to remember about Marko Arnautovic? What's something you're going, yeah, that's good?
One positive thing is, when he was on, last year, the year before that, when he was on, when he was playing and happy, man, the passion was there. Unfortunately, it wasn't an everlasting passion with playing for the club and whatnot, but it was a passion for money or riches or whatever that was. But when he was actually on, when he was playing and committed, and you can see a difference between the matches whenever he's on and when he wants to play, and then on the other side, whenever the ball doesn't go to him or he's standing there complaining because it was a pass that went a little bit too far in front of him. That's the matches that hopefully we'll try to forget and try to remember the good ones. But it's tough. It's tough all in all because you remember the end game and him putting in the transfer request and him and his brother. That's tough to get past.
Justin, what's one positive thing you're going to remember about Arno or Arnautovic on the way out the door?
Yeah, I mean, he did provide us with some great memories. I think his first goal for the club was against Chelsea. It was the winner. One match that always comes to mind is when he scored. I think he scored against Stoke, maybe two, at least one, but at least maybe 2 goals against Stoke, and he was sort of rubbing it in their face. That was great.
It's funny you bring that up. That is actually my memory of him. I'm going to keep that in mind for the rest of the time. I mean, the fact that he could have scored 5 goals in that match and he ended up with 2. But when he turned around and you could just see him sassing the coaching staff from Stoke, and you go, what a bastard. And you're like, oh, this is great. But
because he's our bastard. He was our bastard,
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore. And now you see why. And now you see why the Stoke fans didn't like him. Now you understand why there was so much bad blood between him and the Stoke fans, and you don't think it's going to happen to you until it does. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of positive moments. I think I read something earlier that he was the 4th player ever in our club's history. I don't know if it was Premier League history or entire history where he scored double-digit goals in back-to-back years. So he was obviously a prolific scorer in West Ham's terms. So we're going to miss that. I mean, I'm going to miss that. He single-handedly saved us a couple years ago. So a lot of positives, but the negatives were outweighing the positives and really hurting the dressing room.
And that's the other thing. So Jeremiah, we said, what are you going to positively remember? I think you want to summarize what you're not going to miss about him.
I'm not going to miss the just kind of crybaby attitude I talked about. You see so many times that there'd be a through ball pass to him and it was just a little bit in front of him and he couldn't quite make it, so he just stopped the run and kind of put his head down. Or maybe if he was a little faster, maybe he would have caught up to that pass. But the crybaby attitude, that kind of soft mentality, you've read articles and heard the different players talk about him in the locker room and how it's affected it, and it's a poison. It doesn't need to be there.
Justin, what's the one thing you're not going to miss about Arnie?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jeremiah hit the nail on the head. Probably one thing I won't miss is his brother. I won't miss his brother.
And that was going to be my thing.
Yeah.
So what I'm seeing on the chat here is agents are lice. Greed is killing football. Too much money, too much ego. Listen, agents are a necessary evil. These guys are not business people. They are football players. They're very highly valued. They need agents. It just seems like the agents have too much power, too much influence. I think when I think about that, I think about Wilshere coming to us on a free last year. That ended up costing us millions of dollars because his agent had to have sign-on bonuses, because that's how he gets paid, right? He gets paid on some portion of some fee. So they've got to jack that up. David Thornton says they really need to control agents more, though, regulate them better. John Black sends you a belch. So, John, burp, back to you, buddy. And Colin Johnson, I mentioned, you got guys like Marco and you got guys like Payet, and then you got guys like Mark Noble. And Colin Johnson says Mark Noble would die for West Ham, and I kind of believe that. Okay? So I'm coming at this from the point of view of a guy who grew up watching hockey, and there are a few guys in the NHL who are one club players. Are we done with one club players in Premiership? Are they dead? Is there going to be anybody? Can you think of somebody else who's going to play a whole career, Jeremiah?
You would hope, looking at West Ham terms, you would hope like a Declan Rice, you would hope somebody like that. But you're really seeing it not just in, European football or anything else like that. You're really seeing it in all facets of sports. There's just not a lot of one-team players anymore. I think it has to do with the money and the agents and just kind of the lifestyle that we're in now. But, honestly, sadly enough, I do think we're pretty close to being done. And I don't know, maybe you can change my minds on that. I'm trying not to be too negative for you guys, but yeah.
Justin, what do you think? Are we done with one club players?
I mean, done in terms of never seeing it again. I think we'll see. I think we'll see future one club players. I think they'll be, you know, the diamond in the rough, so to speak. The needle in the haystack will be very rare. Won't be easy to find them. But to say that there'll never be another one, no. But yeah, they're going to be rare. I mean, they've always been pretty rare, but especially now, because if you have any player worth any substance, he's going to go to a bigger club. You know, he's always going to try to go to that bigger club. So,
and especially as a guy gets in towards the end of his career, I mean, there's a comment on Twitter today where people were giving me grief about something I said. You know, it is a big business, and these guys do have relatively short careers. They don't work 40 years; they play 10 years, but they make as much in 1 year as some of us will make in our entire lives. But some of them are complete garbage with taking care of their money. So I think, you know, there's a lot to be said for getting good agents involved in the kids' lives and helping them help the kids not just, you know, get a big contract, but also look after their whole lives. I mean, specifically think about the NFL. It's hard to find a week recently where you don't find, you know, ex-NFL player, you know, living on the street, or ex-Major League Baseball player picking up garbage, you know, to be able to survive. It was
yeah, there's that 30 for 30 called Broke. It's a very good film. Sad but good, and I think I've had this discussion before, and I won't go down the rabbit hole, but I think that stems down to kids just aren't taught how to deal with money in education. We're taught, you know, about right angles and geometry, and not, you know, no disrespect to anyone that likes geometry out there. What I'm saying is we're you know, we don't get taught how to take care of our money, how to do taxes, things like that. So, you know, when you have these big contracts, and then you got your third cousin coming out of the woodwork and saying, "Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Can you spot me 20,000? Can you spot me?" I mean, it goes away like that. It's sad, but it's,
you know, I think about what the NFL on their rookie, they have a rookie camp. So all the rookies get together and they have to go in, and they actually have a fiscal person come in and talk to them now and say, you have to be smart. And not just on the fiscal side, but they're really talking about social media, managing your public appearance, keeping out of trouble. I mean, you start to think about it, you know, there's so much money. These kids are so young. They've got to go after it. Now, in European football, you know, you think about Declan Rice, who I think we would, you know, I'm getting lots of comments on the chat about how everybody wants him to be a one club guy. He's not making a shed load of cash. I mean, he's doing all right, but he's not making, you know, Marco's money. You know, and, you know, I've heard him actually on a couple of podcasts before West Ham kind of said, hey, you can't do that anymore. You got to stop that. He was really well managed, really well in control of himself, really knew how to manage, how to communicate. I mean, like, he obviously had some professional training. You got to kind of hope that more of these kids will get that.
I mean, yes, Scott, you think about, I mean, he's probably more well managed than I am at 32, and he's what, 20 in his early 20s. And
John, my 15-year-old's more well managed than you are right now, dude.
Dude, and the thing is, and the truth is, if I made that much money when I was that age, I would be screwed. I wouldn't know what to do. I got a paycheck of like $120, and I'm like, sweet, $120. I mean, I can't even imagine what it would look like now. So yeah, kudos to him. But I don't know. There's got to be some type of programs in there. You hear the clubs coming out and being like, you know, they're saying, hey, whatever you're doing on Twitter, Instagram, you got to stop that. You got to, you know, maybe delete the old account just to get rid of the past kind of demons when you were younger, writing whatever you thought. But yeah, that needs to happen more often.
So David Thornton said most Premier clubs already have some sort of program for their youngsters for the personal side of the game. The trouble is there are a lot of bad agents out there, and he specifically points at Reese Oxford's agent. I mean, holy crap.
We were talking about that last week, I think, Scott.
Yeah. Well, and then John Black points out, you know, alarm bells went off. This used to be like a kid who started for us, and now he can't get into a team in Germany. You know, he's on the bench most of the time and sometimes not even dressed. Like, when things like that happen, you got to think there's something wrong going on with the kid. All right. So I think, you know, is anybody going to really miss Marko Arnautovic? I'll be honest with you. I miss the goals. I'll miss the excitement of when he scored goals. I will not miss his brother. I will not miss the attitude, and I'll not miss the distraction in the dressing room. How about you guys?
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm not going to miss any of those same things that you talked about. The goals will be nice, but whether it's Chicharito, whether it's somebody else, maybe it's Maxi or who we're bringing in, with the attacking front that we have now, potentially, I always say potentially because who knows? We are West Ham, and maybe we'll come in and just muff it all up. But hopefully, with the attacking presence that we're gonna have coming in, I think it's going to be on point. And if Chicharito's up there just hanging out, waiting for the pass to come in, it's going to come in.
Yeah.
With Lanzini back healthy and Fornals and all that, yeah, I think that the goals are going to be missed, but bye bye. I'm good.
Jim Stebbins, who goes by Gingerbread on Twitter, he's going to miss the on the pitch attitude towards the opposition, but that's about it. And I Justin, think about it. Shaking his finger at the Stoke bench, love that. But hate it. I hate it now because he's doing that to us out in China. And you know what? I saw a great picture of the stadium he's going to play in. I thought it was a picture from just a random day. It turned out to be a game day. There's nobody in the stadium. Marco, have fun, buddy. It's going to be great. And did you guys see the commentary from the club and from David Gold today? Basically, see ya.
Yeah.
The somebody had to say I blocked Socios. Socios actually even gave him a sick burn today, so it was great. So, all right, enough of the crap. Hey, Pierre Selly, welcome. Our midfield's looking solid. Whoever's up front, we just need to provide them solid service. Let's talk about up front. All right, guys. The Maxi Gomez carousel continues. The last thing I saw from X today, and granted it was several hours ago, is things are going well. Valencia is kind of getting ready to pull out. Guys, Maxi Gomez, is he going to be in claret and blue next year? Justin, what do you think?
I'm going to guess yes. I'd place trust in Pellegrini and Mario. I think they'll get it done. Like I mentioned earlier, we have those funds from the Marco sale, and we could. I think it's double the wage offer that Valencia were offering. I know they have Champions League football, but hopefully that can turn Gomez's head. So yeah, I'm gonna guess yes. Although I'm definitely not 100% confident. I'm probably like only 60% confident right now. Who knows what'll happen?
All right. Let's see. I'm looking for what Gaz had to say here a while ago. He's talking about all the finer things in life. We can keep Declan Rice if we invest properly and build a team around him, challenge for cups and European football. Otherwise, he's off. Sad but true. I just wanted to make sure I got that in there because I got grief from Gaz because I didn't give him a shout out. So my bad. All right, Jeremiah, Maxi Gomez, claret and blue or not?
I hope so. Yeah, I'm probably with you, Justin, about 60 to 70%. I think it's really tough because, does he want to actually come and play, or is the money coming into play for it? And you hear a lot about the agents and the agents sway this way, and the agents, obviously the agent and the team are going to want him to come to West Ham because it's going to be more money for everybody. But, if Maxi wants to go to Valencia, he can still make that call. I would imagine. I don't think he's going to be down that much. But, I still put it at like 60%. It's just so long and ongoing. I want it to be over with, either yes or no. That way they can focus on anybody else they want to get in. So, I would go a little optimistic.
So let me jump in on that, Jeremiah, as you sit there drinking some whiskey in front of me, you bugger.
Yeah, don't worry about
it. I got wine waiting for me over there. I am so looking forward to it once we're done. Hey, so with all the craziness, are we being too impatient about Maxi? I mean, if I posted today, if we want high-end players, it's going to take a lot of work to get these guys in. We have to sell them on the club. We have to sell them on the right deal. We have to figure out how to do everything right. These aren't quick deals. Are we just being too impatient?
I think so, as fans. Yeah. I mean, you remember last year with Felipe Anderson, he was coming for a long period of time, and then for a couple of weeks he wasn't coming, and then all of a sudden, he was again, and then it was finalized. I think we have to be impatient. Money-wise, these are big players that we've never brought in before. You look a couple of years ago, and we're bringing in the likes of Matt Jarvis and Bastille and players like that. So this is a whole different ballgame that most West Ham fans aren't used to.
Okay. Justin, are we too impatient?
Yeah, I agree with Jeremiah. I think we're too impatient, but we're fans. It's just natural. We're not. It's not our money we're dealing with. We're not at the negotiating table. So yeah, I mean we're too impatient, but we have the right to be. So like we pay our hard-earned money to go to the games. Well, obviously not as often as the guys over in England, but we also pay money for like the gold passes and the jerseys and. So, we deserve to be impatient.
Shirts guy. I get this all the time on over there. I say, hey, do you like the jersey? And everyone looks at me and goes, shirt. So
I am who I am. I am who I am. And
dude, you know I love taking the piss. So, dude,
and
by the way, I got to give a shout out to Justin. I was telling him this ahead of time. I've gotten a lot of feedback in the last couple of weeks, privately about how this has gone. And whereas they say Jeremiah is much cuter than Nick, Nick's a little bit more available. So Jeremiah, you're fighting that. But Justin, people really appreciate the very matter of fact stuff, the very data oriented stuff. So well done. So hey, let's talk about some other guys. I'm getting questions. Bellotti, does anybody remember how much?
It was astronomical. It was
in the 70s.
70 million. Yeah. Okay. Do we have 70 million? Could we go find it? Who do we have to sell to get 70 million? Well, we just got rid of Marco. We had about 50 million. We could go sign him. Would it be a good play?
No. I think it would be a good play because he's a good player, but for that kind of money, we could easily get 2 to 3 other forwards to come in and play for that.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that exact same thing. I don't think that we should do that because we can get 2 solid players for him instead. We could even shore up the back line a little bit, which I know we'll talk about a little later. That to me is just, I know he had that one real good season a few years ago where he had like 25, 30 goals, something like that. But man, that's a lot of money, and his performance has gone down a little bit. He's been in the Serie A. It's historically tough to transition from Serie A to the Premier League, just so different. That's a lot of money. That's way too much.
I wish you guys could see the chat because as soon as somebody says, "Oh, I'd sign this guy," oh, he's shit. Why would we sign him? He's crap. So, like as everybody knows, Tim does not like Mitrovic, and Tim, I respect that. I understand it. You and I are going to have to agree to disagree. I don't think his attitude is bad as you think it is. Dude, that's okay. But my one was David Thornton's bringing out the Bellotti deal at 72 million. That's his buyout. He'd never go for that. We'd get him the same as Gomez. And immediately, Bellotti is a donkey. And then Tim, of course, comes back. Bellotti's a goal scorer with a good attitude and passionate. So, I mean, we've got one of the things I love about West Ham fandom is the enormous passion that I see. What I haven't liked for the last week or two is kind of our negativity on social media. Man, we would eat our own babies sometimes. So, anyways, all right. Let me throw
it's 53 million pounds. I don't know where we're talking about financial fair play rules issues that going into this summer, and we want to pay 63 million pound for a guy.
There is I reshared the link. Somebody actually put the fact that FFP is changing. The short-term coverage is changing. So it's getting thrown away. They think it's going to really, and if I can find the link later on, I'll retweet it. But there's a whole bunch of people who think it's going to put pressure on the top 6 to show the revenues a little bit more clearly. No magical buying of revenue, and also some of the guys who just got caught up from from the lower league will have a more even chance to kind of get in the mid-table. But it's kind of all over the place. It was an interesting read. I got one for you. So we've talked about Bellotti. All right, how about Balotelli? Anybody interested in Mario? I would take Mario. I'll be up front. He's on a free. Sign him to a 1 or 2 year deal. He's not going to stay with us. He wants to play for a year and go, look how amazing I am. Somebody big sign me. Great. Get me 20 goals and go away. What do you guys think?
No, I agree, man. Sign him on a free, or even like you were talking. I think I seen you tweet something about a pay as you kind of play type of deal. And I think that would be good.
Oh yeah, X privately
short period.
X told me I'm an idiot, and there's no way that Balotelli's going to take a pay-as-you-play deal. Although I did love this. There's a dude, West Ham Central, who posted a link today about how we're looking at Andy Carroll on a pay-as-you-play. I want to point out that appears not to be true, and if it turns out to be true, we are idiots. Justin Balotelli, what do you think?
I mean, I don't want to just say no. He's not my first option after. If we don't get Gomez, he's not my first option. I would prefer Rondon. I mean, Callum Wilson, maybe if we can get him for like 50 mil or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say no. I'm not saying no. I wouldn't take him. But to just jump right in and say yes to take a guy with an attitude problem after just getting rid of a guy with an attitude, it just doesn't really make sense to me. But maybe if he's like, there are a couple other options of ours aren't able to be signed, if we're not able to get them, then sure, why not? If it's on a free, let's go for it. See what happens.
So Pierre Selly wants to point out that Rondon is apparently signing for a Chinese club. How does
I've heard of that, but I don't know. I haven't seen anything.
Like, holy crap! Like, nobody's watching this apparently. No, although there apparently is a channel in the U.S. now that you can watch the Chinese Super League on. So
there you go. We can still watch Marco.
We can watch Marco. That's got to be some crap football. You know what's really interesting is Michael Cottrell points out 70 million seems to be the going rate for a really high-end goal scorer. And Justin, I think that's crazy money. Is that really the going rate for a 20 goal scorer?
I don't know. I did see. I just googled him. Torino is telling us to pay him 63. So not quite 70 like I thought. I think that might be euros. That just seems like a lot of money for West Ham. And that's the going rate. I think we're a little bit below the going rate in terms of what we can pay. That's a lot of money.
Oh man. Oh yeah, and David Thornton, 70 million is a rate for a good defender. We're seeing these stupid prices. It's just killing me. I did point out, if we have 70 million, we should keep it. And I think Jordan Hugill could probably get 10 or 15 goals this year with that midfield. Although, let's not forget, Hugill to Madrid. It's going to happen. All right. I give it a whole bunch of other names. Who else do you guys see out there? Like in this mad time, Ben Yedder's name has come back up again. Rondon, Jim Stebbins, Smokey says Inter wants Icardi gone. AC Milan wants Andre Silva gone. Are we? What do you think? Do you think Husilios is out there fishing for the guys, or do you think I'm starting to think Husilios has his list and he's going to play this as long as he can with Gomez? And once he says nope, that's done, he's got somebody ready to go. He's got somebody on the hook ready to go.
Yeah, what do you think? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jeremiah.
No, man. I was saying I think you're absolutely right, Scott. We've seen it this whole transfer window compared to 2 years ago when everybody was linked to us. We're still getting the same links that are coming out, but the players that we signed, and you can agree that all three of them that we've signed and brought in, we didn't know that we were going to actually sign. Let's just be honest. And before, like a day or two before that, we probably had no idea who they were or that they were even linked to West Ham. So I agree. I think that if Maxi falls through, he's going to have somebody else behind it to just be ready and probably pull the trigger on. So, I mean, that's my hope. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. Justin, thoughts?
Yeah. So, what was the question again? Who do we get if not Gomez?
Yeah. Who else do you see out there?
Yeah. So besides Rondon, I have heard Andre Silva. I've also heard of this guy Sebastian Haller.
He just came up in the chat.
Mhm.
Of all things, he just came up in the chat.
Haller.
Jim Stebbins and Michael Cottrell brought him up. Where's he playing?
Yeah.
Do you know?
He Frankfurt, the team that I think it's Frankfurt, the team that played Chelsea in the Europa League semifinal, and I think he has a pretty good goal scoring record. I think he scored 20 plus goals over the last couple seasons, something like that. He forgot how old he was, but I remember watching them play in the Europa League. I forgot which game. It may have been the Chelsea game, may have been a little in the previous rounds. And yeah, I thought he played really well. I remember saying, "Oh, that guy's pretty good." I didn't really know anything about him, yeah. So
Okay. I'm sorry. One of the best parts of this channel is how much more interaction I'm getting on the chat side. We've got a vote John Black would like us to sign Alex Morgan.
Oh, yes. Yes. Sign her up.
Definitely wouldn't mind that.
You just want to see her in the shorty shorts, boys.
There's nothing wrong
She's
with
hot. What can I say? Yeah.
Haller is probably the cream of the crop in charge of the target man mold, scores goals and gets a lot of assists. Icardi, Matt Gregory thinks Icardi will go off to Atletico. I'm going to throw a name at you guys. Jonathan David. Canadian kid, 19 years old, scores a goal every 3 games, playing for Mainz, however you pronounce it. Won the Golden Boot in the Gold Cup. He's 19 years old. He's cheap. Buy him and train him. Please, West Ham, get a Canadian in there. Come on, boys. Hey, I'm going to take a break here for a second because I forgot to do all the stuff that Tim always does at the beginning. Hey, Stravacaras Coffee and Drinkware Designs, you guys are awesome. Thanks for supporting the channel. You guys rock. I'm sitting outside tonight. I would have my coffee, but I got to go drink wine, and some of us have to make that sacrifice. Hey, let me take a look and see who's in the chat room. Colin Johnson, Ken McGuire, Neil Hogan, Ray Borum, Tim Melican, whoever that is. Wally World is in there. And I know that I've seen John Black, Matt Gregory, David Thornton, some wanker named John. Jim Stebbins wants to see Alex Morgan twerk. I believe that's on YouTube. You can see that.
I think the video's out there. I might have seen it yesterday. Yeah.
It's interesting. Just to be clear, in Vegas, we could probably see some more twerking. I'm just saying. You might have to pay for it, but you might see twerking. All right, guys. What else we got tonight? So we spent all our time talking about a striker, and I think we all need that. What else do we need? Did anybody notice that Arthur Masuaku started 1 game in the African Cup of Nations?
Yeah.
1.
Yeah.
I am not comfortable at left back, guys. And listen, Justin, you're missing Jeremiah trying to reach through the camera to choke me right now, because he's written a really good piece for Green Street a while ago about how he thinks we're set with Creswell and we're set with Masuaku. I'm not. And I think back to when we talked with the Hammer's Chat guys a while ago. They're not sold on either Fredericks or Zaba. What do you guys think? Are we going to go shopping? Do you think yet, or is that a done deal for this year?
Yeah,
I think personally, it's a. Sorry, go ahead, man.
Justin, you're up, buddy.
Yeah, I mean I'm a little more unsure about the right back situation than I am the left back. At least for the left back, it seemed like when one guy was being inconsistently in his performance, the other guy was ready to take his spot. So there were a couple of times where they flip-flopped Creswell and Masuaku because of injuries or poor performance. And I feel like the other guy who was the backup at the time was ready to go. Masuaku did have a strong finish to the season. And I think we have 2 decent left backs. For the right back, Fredericks was very inconsistent with his performance and health. And Zabaletta's legs are going. I mean, he was awful in the second half of the season. I love the guy, but he was bad. So I'm a little more unsure about right back, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I'm a big Ben Johnson guy. I think he could – I'm going to give Fredericks another chance. I think if he can stay healthy and can perform pretty well, then he's our future right back. But, man, if he doesn't, put Ben in because I think he's going to be a good right back for years to come.
And dude, you've mentioned that before. The more I've looked at him, and I went off and took a look at a bit of the film that I could get. There's not a whole lot of film I can get about him, and I talked to some people who watch the youth a lot, and they said he is pretty freaking amazing. So I think Ben Johnson might get one. Jeremiah, okay, I've cut down your boys. I'll shut up now. Have at it. Tell me how wrong I am. It's okay.
I mean, you already know that you're wrong, so we won't even go there. No, Justin, I agree with the Ben Johnson deal. I agree completely that if I had to pick one youth that was going to be kind of the next star up, it's going to be him. I think it's going to be him. And you can look at both left and right back situations. We'll put Fredericks and we'll do Masuaku. if it wasn't for the performance of whoever was playing, left mid and right mid, usually Antonio and Anderson that were track back, that learned how to track back and would come back and play, that saved them a lot. Declan Rice saved them a lot because you would see him kind of venture off to the left, usually to save Masuaku. But I think when you look at the performances towards the end of the season, and I know that same form's not going to necessarily be there, a couple months down the road, but I think at the very end of the season, the last month or at least couple weeks, you saw kind of both of them come into prime, as far as what I thought. Zabaleta, you're right. He a great player, a great leader. Definitely, he's got to be a locker room type of leader, but he's mainly there right now to help kind of groom and train, whether that is Johnson or whether it is Fredericks. Same thing on the other side with Kress and Masuaku. I think it's solid over there as long as they can get help and they kind of, play consistently. I'll be curious to see if Yarmolenko comes out and he's going to start on the right mid, how much he's going to track back. Because I guess historically he doesn't do that much. We didn't really get a good kind of, sample size of that really. But Antonio can track back better, thanks to Super Slav for making him a right back for a couple games. But yeah, I think we're okay for this year.
Okay.
I think that Pellegrini is gonna give another shot. Yeah.
Okay. Especially, what was the kid who signed for Man United for a stupid amount of money? Didn't they sign a back last year for kind of like similar money too, and now they want to get rid of? Yeah, it's silly
I think
season.
It's the other side. I think they.
Okay. All I know is it's just it's stupid amounts of money, and it's money that, frankly, I don't think West Ham has to play with, which really sucks. I'd love to have, another $100 million to throw around. Yeah, and Ken points out that Yarmo's been back in training. Somebody posted some great videos of him today, just frankly jerking around on the pitch. He looked confident with his leg and that sort of thing, which is good. Never going, that's a guy I want to go have a beer with. I want to be clear, he's Ukrainian. He'll go drink vodka with you, and he'll drink us all under the table. All right, boys. What other wild cards out there? So there's some people in the chat calling for a box-to-box midfielder. I'm making the pitch that when we need that this year, that's going to be Wilshere. This is going to be that Wilshere keeps his kit together. His legs don't break and his knees stay together. What do you guys think? Is this a year that we're going to see Wilshere, come through and play 30 matches?
No, and that's not necessarily to say that he's going to be hurt, although I think he will be. But he shouldn't be playing that much. It's obvious that his body can't take that, especially after a year where he was out 90% of the games. He shouldn't be playing 30 matches, in my opinion. He needs to be playing a little more sparingly, starting here and there, coming off the bench, 20 appearances in the league, maybe a couple more in some cups, and that's it for this season, because it's obvious that he just cannot stay healthy. And I think that if we overplay him, the chances of him not staying healthy are through the roof, and they are already. So,
okay, Jeremiah, throw me under the bus, buddy. I've already thrown your backs under the bus. Your turn.
No, dude, I'm not going to throw you under the bus. I agree. I think the sad part is that you can clearly tell that Wilshere, wants to play. He has that desire to play.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you watched his documentary and everything like that. I mean,
yeah, it was good.
It was good. And the dude he's out there and he wants to do it, but can he stay healthy? I think if he can stay healthy, like you said, Justin, 20, maybe 25 matches throughout the season, just give him that time and let him come out and really kind of, reclaim himself. I think reclaim the fact that the injuries may be past, hopefully past, but it's a big step.
Well, and the thing that I'm excited about is we had a shed load of midfielders. Holy crap, do we have a lot of midfielders. So this is a great year. I mean, you got a little bit of a nick. You need a day or two off. Hey, no worries. We are not desperate for every one of you guys to be ready for Sunday. If I can get 3 of you ready for Saturday, we'll be fine and have a couple guys on the bench. And we have the depth in midfield. I think, hopping back to the striker side, I'm fairly confident we don't sell Chicharito this year. I think Chicharito stays. I think we bring in another number one, whether that's Maxi Gomez or somebody else. And as much as I'd like to loan Xande Silva out and have him go out and get a year as a number one center forward in a lower league, I think we're gonna have to hang on to him. And in all honesty, I would not be surprised if Jordan Hugo sticks around this year either, just because we need bodies. And I hate saying that. Jordan, if you're ever listening to this, I don't hate you. I think you're a lovely, lovely lad. I think you get people take the piss on you all the time. Look, I love your attitude. I love how hard you work. I love you did what you had to do. That's great. Whether or not I believe in you as an English Premiership player, yeah, maybe not. But dude, I never want to think we denigrate you as a person. I think you're a lovely lad. Yeah, Gabe DeLeon, Jordan watches. I don't see him on the chat, Gabe. I'm just saying. Although I did see it, and Tim, I think you'll like this. I did see earlier on today somebody posted as Tompkins on the chat. So James Tompkins is out there. He's whoever this was. He was here and gone. If it was you, that's freaking hilarious. But somebody did put James Tompkins in the chat for a second. So there's your one per list. Anybody want to bring up PSG to get Lee off my back? So I've seen this a couple of times recently. People are going, well, maybe should we go back after Sacco or Valencia? I think if you go back after Enter Valencia, I think you're mad. How about Sacco? Anybody want to go back and relive the pack? Oh yeah, PSJ. Thanks, Gabe. Anybody want to go back and relive the past with Sacco?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think maybe I want to relive the past with Sacco, but you gave me a list of names, right? I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
With all the wine that you've been drinking. But
it's what I do for a living, man. I drink wine.
If anybody, I know, man. I'm not putting you down. The easiest name to pronounce, and if anybody is a fan of the Green Street Hammers, you know that I love to butcher up names. I don't even try anymore. I mean, what's the point? But Nicolas Pepe, also from France, all Africa, Ivory Coast, I believe. The dude kind of reminds me of a little bit Taco. Kind of got some pretty sweet skills. He keeps the ball well. He's 24 years old. Last season in the French League 1, 38 matches, 22 goals, 11 assists. He plays up front, but he can also play on the right. So I was thinking about Sacco too when you were like, come up with some crazy idea. I'd love to have Sacco back. I think put him in the middle with the offense that we have now, and we're on point. But this guy, Nicolas Pepe, I think he's at least one to YouTube and check out. Yeah.
Cool. Jim Stebbins thinks that Pepe's already going somewhere else. You know what I've decided? Supposedly. I don't believe anything till I see somebody hold up. I don't believe anything till I see a guy hold up a shirt. How about the guy from Portugal? I haven't heard anything much about him recently. I'm trying to remember his name.
Andre Silva? I'm assuming you're not, but
no, there was another kid. Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name. Anyways, cool. Well, you know what? We've eaten about 50 minutes, guys. It's wild card time. Jeremiah, if you could go sign any player in the world that's reasonable. Yeah, Marega was the name. Thanks, Michael Cottrell. Marega was the name.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about him for a while. Jeremiah, 2 minutes. Make a pitch for one guy that you would love to go off and get, that you think is out there that we could get.
For sure, 100%. Probably gonna screw it up. Yusuf Poulsen, the dude out of Germany. He looks same style as Andy Carroll. He's tall. He's got beautiful hair, but he's also faster. He's got
the hair is good, man.
That's right. He's got the pace that Carroll never had. The dude can still head it in, but the dude is a lightning rod. And I can't remember where he's from exactly, but I know that he plays at Leipzig in the Bundesliga, and the dude is on fire. If I could bring in one person, it would be him.
All right, dude, that's pretty good. Justin, we'll take the magic ball out, the crystal ball. Who do you want that you think we could go get?
That we could go get. Well, I'm not going to say Maxey because we could potentially get him, but besides him, I've always been a Callum Wilson fan. I know he would be pretty expensive, probably in the 50s, like in the 50 to 60 million pound range. But I've always been pretty. I know he had an ACL tear, but I've always been pretty. He's always done well against us, it seems like, and he always looks good against us. And I think he's a very good striker. So I would love to have him. I think he's got pace and skill, and he'd pair up really nicely with. Anderson, and then Fornals and Lanzini in the midfield. So if I could say pick anyone that's within reason, it would be Callum Wilson for me.
Pierre Selly says Wilson would be nice, especially because that means he would stop scoring against us. He also says, with that in mind, we should also sign Lukaku, who apparently is available. Would you want Lukaku at your club? I don't.
No, I'll pass.
I think he had a couple of great years, and he has like a good 3 games a year. And after that, I'm just unimpressed. I've noticed that the whole Issa Diop to Man United has died off. I've seen that the whole we're going to sell Declan, to everybody else in the world, it has died off. Do you think people have finally started to stop with the kind of the complete BS rumor mill, or do you think we're just in a pause right now with those 2 guys?
I know. I honestly think that people are starting to realize that West Ham is not a club to be pushed around anymore. With Manuel and Mario at the helm, I think people are starting to realize, shit, West Ham's actually means business. That's my opinion. That's what I'd like to think. I don't think we were ever going to sell Diop, to be honest, unless they paid us, 80, 90, million. They were never going to do that. So, but yeah, I honestly think it has more to do with the fact that they're just like, you know what? F off, like we're not dealing with you guys. We're not dealing with you, Manchester United. We're not dealing with you, any Manchester City trying to buy Declan Rice. We're done. We're keeping him. So,
I'm completely with you. This is the first. I can't remember who started the conversation today, and I got into a conversation a little bit on social media, and I said, this is the first time where we kind of have to pull our heads out of our backsides about the board. Whether you like the board or not for what they've done in the past, I can't fight that. I can't fight their past. What I can say right now is they sat down, they shut up, they hired a manager. The manager went and got his director of football operations, and they're managing who they're going to go hire or who they're going to go try to acquire in a very professional way. I really like it. Like as much as, listen, I love hearing from X, and X has got great insights, and he's still got stuff to say. There's less of it. I noticed Sean Wetston. He definitely has. There's definitely structures around what he's saying nowadays. You can really sense it's kind of backed off a bit. I suspect he has the data, but they're being very clear, like, this, but you don't freaking talk about it. And I know X, I had a chance to trade a couple of conversations. Hey, Pierre Selly, I see you're going away, dude. Thanks so much for dropping in. It was fun to see you in the chat. I know that X has known some stuff, and he hasn't talked about it. I get the feeling the club's really starting to batten down the hatches a little bit about how to operate. And for once, I'm not completely embarrassed by how my club's operating during the transfer season. All right, guys. I don't really have anything else left. Jeremiah, I gave you a list of names. We'll talk about them more. I'm sure, you'll tell me all the things I missed later on. Justin, any last words before we get out of here?
I was wrong about Marco, and I'm eating my words, and I stand corrected, and I'm wrong. So just in case anyone ever needs to tell me that, I've already said it first.
Justin, are you married? Are you married, Justin?
I'm not married.
Don't worry. Someday you might get married. You'll be told you're wrong quite often, and you'll agree.
Of course. I'm already practicing.
Jeremiah can get an amen.
Dude, I'll agree. 100% wrong.
Hey, look, one of the core things I think we all need to keep in mind is we've got lots of strong feelings, lots of great opinions about what's going on with this club. And it's a club that we all love and support. I think it's an exciting time. I think for once, we've always said for years, and it came up in the chat, like next year's always a year. This kind of feels like it could be our year. Arsenal, Man U, and Chelsea are all kind of having moments. This could be a year where we could shine through. Now, do I think we're going to finish 4th? But I think 6th or 7th is not unreal. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think West Ham United finishes in the top 6 this year.
Yeah,
but we
definitely not unreal, not unrealistic. But yeah, it's sort of like as a West Ham fan, you can be optimistic, but you sort of have to set yourself up for not reaching those goals, because you just usually don't. But I hope you're right, Scott. I hope you're right.
I'll tell you, it is weird. It is weird to being a West Ham fan to being like, we're bullying other clubs around and telling them who we want. We're bullying other clubs around and saying who we're not selling.
Yeah.
And we might actually have an opportunity to finish top 6. It's a weird time. I mean, I've only been a West Ham fan since 2011, but still, it's a weird time.
Yeah, I mean, even for the Fornals signing, you had Arsenal fans being like, "Why? What the hell are we doing?
Yeah.
West Ham signing this? We should have signed." So it's awesome to see.
Yeah, dudes, I think you've hit it. I think whether or not this is year we break top 6, okay, maybe I'm crazy, but it's certainly, Justin, as you said, it's, we're not being foolish. And Jeremiah, you're right. We're finally saying, hey, piss off. We'll tell you who we're selling. We'll tell you who we're buying. You deal with it. Boys, that was fun. You have no idea how much I appreciate you guys taking the time to do this. And hey, Justin, thanks for pushing back half an hour for those of us who had, dad duties tonight. That's awesome.
Sure.
Dude, that's appreciated. Hey, for everybody who was on the chat tonight, everybody, Colin, Ken, Neil, Ray, Tim, Wally, Gabe was out there earlier on. There's a shed load more people. Love the interaction in the chat. I'm trying to interact with you guys in real time. You come on in. I'll try and give you a shout out, try and give you a name. There's a whole bunch more stuff coming up on American Hammers TV this week. Tim's posted it up. Nick Stamper's going to be back. We got another bitch fest coming up. I know everybody's surprised, but I'm going to spend a minute talking about Marko Arnautovic. I know you're shocked that I'm going to bitch about Marko. In the meantime, guys, hey, you know what? If I can get these two lads stick around for a minute, everybody out there in YouTube land, come on, you irons. Have a good night.